I say hello to Kai Vogelhaupt. This is the next from a series of interviews on the topic of sustainable development made by Future Workshop Bulgaria. Kai Vogelhaupt is a member of Future Workshop Bulgaria and a professional with many years of experience in the field of sustainable development, namely in the field of renewable energy sources. Kai, can you please tell us a few words about your professional background in the field of renewable energy?
Yes, first of all, thank you for being here. I started actually in university already, building the first wind generators, because in university I decided, or I had to face the fact that I could work for VW or a car manufacturer the rest of my life, or do something sinful with my life. So I decided for renewable energies. I built my first wind generators during university, went continuously on building wind generators, and doing all my working life, I have installed generators in Germany, in all over Europe, Denmark, Balkan, Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, even in Azerbaijan. All over, approximately 1.5 gigawatt of energy I installed. Furthermore, during university times, and I was a co-publisher for a solar project which was participating in the Kyoto Protocol. And this is about it, what I did and decided to do for my life.
What is your concept for the term sustainable development? Does it include the solution for the environmental problems only, or are there some further phases?
No, I believe that sustainable development is much more than environment. For sure, environment is one of the major piles of sustainable energy or sustainable development. But you are absolutely right. Maybe first of all, we should clarify the meaning of sustainable development. Because for me it means that we will meet our needs without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. The idea of sustainable development runs through like a red thread over many years. I believe it started in 1987 with this so-called Brundtland report, went over Rio de Janeiro, Berlin, Kyoto, to Paris, and over all the years people have been developing and designing and forwarding the idea of sustainable development. What is mainly involved in sustainable development is for sure environment. This is the biggest word at all. But sustainable development is much more. It is a process. It is like communication, searching, continuously learning of people to develop and to cope with the challenges we have to face every day. Second of all, or third of all, it is a balance. Sustainable development can only work when it is in balance of economy, ecology, and the social tasks. One without the other will never work. For sure, and this is what we see already, economy which is based on sustainable development has definitely strategical pros compared to conservative companies or manufacturers, for example. But sustainable development makes it also necessary for us to think about, let's say, our political approaches And we have to really ask ourselves if it's not time to throw all our political approaches overboard and to ask furthermore, are our actual politicians intelligent enough to cope with these challenges? I'm not talking about Bulgaria. I'm talking about globally. In 1987, it was the first time shown up also by the Club of Rome that the economical growth and globalization we are facing nowadays and we are enjoying, so to say, nowadays, lead to enormous amount of environmental problems by global growth of population in countries like China or India, for which we were so far away, but we didn't realize what would be coming up to us. Coming back to the three piles of sustainable development, let's look at the first one and the largest one. This is the environmental sustainability. The idea of the environmental sustainability is to reduce and to control that the let's say natural resources are not inexhaustible, and that we have to protect our natural resources and use them in a rational way. This goes together with aspects like environmental conservation, investing in renewable energies, saving water, supporting sustainable mobility is one of the phases, innovation in sustainable construction and architecture. So all of them together secure, let's say, the sustainable development on an environmental basis. Coming to social sustainability. The social sustainability, this can foster the development of people, cultures, and civilizations to achieve a reasonable and a fairly distribution of quality life, of health care, and of education. For sure, in the future, and especially in developing countries, the fight for equal rights for genders will be one of the main topics to secure a base of social sustainability. Coming to economic sustainability focuses on equal economical growth that generates wealth for all civilizations all over the globe. The aim of creation of sustainable development is to keep all three piles in balance. That means the economic growth, it means the ecological environment, as well as the social tasks. All three of them are imminent for success of the globe. So what we understand is that social or sustainable development will only work out if all three piles work in balance and have overlapping areas. It's like you can imagine like three circles, and just the middle part on which all of them are overlapping is the sustainable development. The question is now actually, why is sustainable development so difficult? So far it sounds easy for everybody. We have to ask the question, why is it so difficult for all of us, and what stops us from doing it, from living in like this approach? It is clear, if we take a look at our environmental challenges, it is first of all for everybody clear we have to reduce our CO2 pollution. There is no doubt. We have rules, otherwise the poles will be melting and so on and so on. But what can be the approaches to start changing things? Is just raising fuel prices the solution? Or is that a totally underqualified approach to stop people from using fossil fuels? So let's take a look at some of our environmental challenges. It is clear for all of us, and we hear it every day in the news, we have to reduce our CO2 emission. Nobody knows how much, but we have to do it. So how do we do it? What can we do? What can each of us do? And we have to ask also, is it just enough to raise the prices for fuel and gasoline? Is that the approach to solve problems? I believe we have to go further. I believe we have to reduce flying. We should put a lot more subventions into train usage, extending railways, networks, trains, reducing prices. We have to reduce free trade agreements. We have so many old freight ships over the ocean with running on heavy fuels and producing so much CO2 so that I can buy my potatoes from Israel or buy my components from China, or many of these things we have to ask ourselves, are they necessary? For sure, one of the issues is everybody has to be responsible for what he's doing or she's doing. And that is also not just you and me, it's also countries, industries. I think every country should solve their own problems in regards to their waste. And it should not be allowed and possible that some countries sell their waste to other countries just to get rid of it. And in other countries, the air pollution is so awful that children suffer from this. For sure, we need less cars running on fossil fuels. I think the car manufacturers should be forced by law to invest a certain percentage of their income, or of their margins, in modern technologies, in different technologies. We should stop burning wood. Not everybody has to have a fireplace at home and burn wood to get the house warm or the apartment warm. We have to think about other approaches, centralized heating. And if we have fireplaces in private use, we should have something like an organization, a governmental organization that controls what is going to be burned. It cannot be that people start burning their tires, their paint and the painted wood and whatever, which is strongly affecting cancer, in their houses. It is so easy, technology-wise, to go and check what people are burning just by controlling the ashes. We need this for cars and trucks and buses. Emission controls from official side. And cars which do not fulfill a certain requirement will be outsourced and will not be allowed to run anymore. We need this also for industrial processes, to be sure that it is more financially interesting for industry to have a clean emission than to pay penalty for not producing clean emission, so to say. Let's take a look at the social tasks. For sure, the social aspect in sustainable development was always like the mother-in-law. Nobody was ever interested in it. We're all focused on economical growth, maybe on environment, but not on social tasks. Even the richer countries in the northern sphere have realized that economical growth is not solving these problems. They have understood, and there are countries in the world which have decided to go on zero growth, to invest more in social sustainability. For sure, the task and the goal of social sustainability is and will be the best possible education all over the globe to enable people to develop individually. Another point will be equal rights for men, women, children, young people, old people, different genders. to have the same rights in front of law, which we don't have until now. Coming back also to this point, the rights or the equal rights of different genders is, how shall I say, even more critical the less the knowledge, or the less the education is in the countries, and the poorer the people are. One other major point in social sustainability is also healthcare. We all will only survive in the long run if we find a global system to develop a healthcare for everybody, not just for the rich people. Let's take a look at the last and the most famous point, that is the economic. For the economic, it is a clear task to develop a viable local economies which are environmental sound, that, yes, as I said, are more focused on let's say, on the local area, in smaller economies, than in globalization. Sustainable economy can put focus on agriculture, on local preservation of agriculture, distributing locally. There is no need to send bananas all over the world. It's fine if we eat our own bananas, and if we buy food and agricultural food according to the season, as we have done it and as our parents have done it. One further part is, since we are here in Varna, is aquatic life. Regions which are living on fishery, on water, so to say, they have a quite or very high responsibility to maintain also and put a focus on marine life and water life to keep their this ecosystem alive. I believe these are the main points on sustainable development. But I must say I am in doubt that our politicians are really able to cope with these challenges. I mean, we need so much data to learn from the past, to evaluate the situation we are in, to evaluate poverty in our country. But nobody allows us or gives us this data. The question is, do we have this data to make a research on it? Or is it maybe not wanted, that our government prefers to hide this data to keep the society calm? So personally, I have my doubts that this government is able, even slightly, to solve any of these problems we are facing for the next years.
Kai, can you give us one positive and one negative example for projects in the field of renewable energy sources?
In general, I believe that every renewable project is a good project. For sure, there are projects which are less economic, and for this reason, maybe less valuable. But economy and ecologically has to be in balance. It will never work. You will never have a green project when it's financially not feasible. So I believe if both things are in balance, it is a good project.
Last question. Which should be the right priorities for a country like Bulgaria when it comes to sustainable development?
I believe that the major step Bulgaria has to take is the focus on social sustainable development. We have to fight poverty. We have to focus on education of everybody in this country. And I believe that when people are better educated by schooling, by professional business, however, people start gaining a different point of view and find different approaches to solve the problems we have to solve. So I would focus on social sustainable development in the first step, then education, then ecology.
Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.